Hey everyone, Leanne here from Kingdom Blogger. So today in this video, we're going to talk about legal pages and your legal responsibilities as an online influencer who creates content via your website and other places. So first and foremost, I am not an attorney. Depending on the state in which you live or the country where you are originating from, you definitely want to research this further. I am just going to give you an overview, explain some terms to you, and let you know some of the just most basic things. But again, I am not an attorney. Please understand this is not legal advice. This is just to give you kind of an outline of things that you need to know about. So why do we need legal pages? So we live in a sue happy world and everybody wants to sue everybody for everything, right? And as a Christian creator, I would say you're probably a little more prone to possible frivolous lawsuits because, that's one of the best ways the enemy could take us out is to have somebody sue us and then we lose everything. So I'm going to talk about three very specific pages that are considered legal pages. One that is required by law and the other two that are kind of just like good to have, as well as where you can find these resources to create your own and so forth. Okay, so number one, why do I need legal pages? So number one, it just helps you comply with the law. Having a privacy policy is required by law. When you deal with people's private information, their personal information, PII is the acronym you may have heard, you're required to adhere to strict guidelines in how you handle it. Now, you may say, well, I don't collect people's data. You probably do and don't realize it. So just by virtue of being on the web, having a website that people can come to, your website, not maybe you specifically, your website is collecting data on people. The browser collects data. Your plugins that you use on your site collects data. That's how you have tracking cookies and all these different things. And so even if you don't think you do, your website does. Just being on the internet means that anyone who visits your site, the data about what they're doing while they're there is being collected. And you might think, well, duh, everybody knows that. Well, yeah, duh. But in legal terms, duh doesn't get you off. There's a reason we have that disclaimer that says on like your hair dryer or electronics devices, that little tag that says do not submerge in water. Like, duh, no, but because somebody may have done that and then they were able to sue because nobody told them they weren't supposed to do it. So while it seems a bit ridiculous, it's a legal thing, and we know that doesn't always make sense to us. Okay, so compliance with the law is a part of it. Number two, your legal pages can also help protect your intellectual property. People copying stuff from your website is a common thing. Just this past month alone, I have found and had someone else let me know about another website that had copied my blog posts in their entirety, literally everything on the post, even down to my opt-in forms, and published it on their site. Well, that is stealing property. My site clearly states that all content contained on the site belongs to me, and you have to have permission to reproduce it, right? Or to utilize it elsewhere. And so in the sense of when you find something like that out, your privacy policies, your disclaimers, and all those things, your legal pages, stipulate this from the beginning so that if someone violates it, you basically have legal ramifications to sue or to get, your recourse. And so you have to say, hey, this is my stuff. Don't take it. While most people should know that, legally speaking, you have to define that up front. It help you release you from personal liability. So what that means is, everybody goes to the internet for everything. We go for legal advice. We go for medical advice and just all the different things, financial advice. And so it's very important that in your terms of use, your disclaimer page, things like that, which we'll talk about in a minute, that you say like, hey, like I said at the beginning of this video, I am not a legal professional. Please do not take this as legal advice. Like, that's a disclaimer. So that if someone did the things that I talk about in here and they still got sued, they couldn't come back and sue me for giving false advice because I literally said I'm not an attorney. And so those kind of declarations on your site, on your disclaimer page, kind of also prevents you from lawsuits resulting in people, you know, taking your advice or whatever you've talked about, and then it didn't work out for them. That's really what it amounts to. It lets readers know the terms of use. So what does that mean? Basically, look, if you're going to hang out on my site, these are the rules, right? No hate speech, no this, no that, whatever. And so if somebody does violate those things, and let's say you block them, or, you know, whatever, that you can show them in writing, well, this is the thing you violate. These are the terms of use. Upon entering this property, these are things you're agreeing upon. If you cannot agree to these, go the other way. That's basically what it's saying. And the final thing, your affiliate disclosure. This is one most of you are probably probably have heard a lot aside from privacy policy. When you are monetizing your site and you have any sort of affiliate relationship, so you're doing affiliate marketing, or maybe you get paid to do sponsored content or anything of that nature, where there is a relationship, a financial relationship that you have with another company whose links you are promoting on your site, you have to disclose that to your readers, so that if they click on a link and that you have put in your site and then they go and make a purchase, even though it's at no additional charge to them, you still have to let them know, hey, by shopping through my links, you are actually supporting me and I could make, you know, income from that. And so that is actually required by law to have that. And all affiliate programs require that as well. Okay. So what pages do we need? So I'm going to talk about three main ones. Now, there's a lot of other legal pages out there that are really going to vary depending on the types of maybe services you offer and things that you do. So we're going to talk about the three main ones. Number one is a privacy policy. This is required by law. Again, as I stated earlier, anytime you have a website, something that is accessible to people on the internet, you have to disclose what information your site takes, what your website, whatever, collects, how it is utilized, and most importantly, how they can request to have it like deleted, right? And so, like I said, even if you're not, like some have said, well, I don't do affiliate marketing and I don't sell products, so I don't collect credit card numbers, and I'm not yet building my email list. So I'm not really collecting data, but you are. You physically aren't, but your website is. And so letting your readers know about tracking cookies, you know, browser cookies, all that kind of stuff, that is all contained in the privacy policy, and it is required by law. On top of that, you have two acronyms you may have heard of, GDPR and CCPA. So GDPR is kind of a law that was enacted in the UK, European countries, a few years back, that really gets like strict with how we can collect and utilize other people's personal information. And it gets really technical. Like there's a lot of stuff in there that you're just like, duh, people should know that. But in their case, you have to say that. You have to disclose that, as well as collecting email. Like if you're collecting email addresses for email, you know, email list building, email marketing, how you utilize that email. Like, what are you sending them? I mean, it gets really technical when you get into that. And so in order to be compliant with GDPR, either one, you don't allow traffic to your site from people in the UK, which is kind of a dumb idea because they should be able to see your stuff too, or you put the necessary compliance documents. And all of that is actually part of your privacy policy. The other part of that is CCPA, and that is similar to GDPR, but it's for the state of California. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's really just more strict requirements and guidelines for handling of personal information. And so, you know, the things you need to let your readers know about and things like that is all contained in the CCPA policy. So your privacy policy is one that is required by law. You know, not only you having it, but you kind of understanding your part in it. Like I said, you probably didn't realize you were collecting data, but you are. How do you, you know, protect that data? Things on your site like having HTTPS, you know, protecting their email addresses, things like that. We hear all the time about companies who were hacked, right? So there was a data breach, and it's not just financial information. A lot of times it's emails. And emails, date of birth, stuff like that. Any of that can be utilized to hack into that individual's personal information because we use emails to log into our banks and different things, right? And so it's very important that you protect that data and that you have very strict protocols for how you manage it. And then also a way for them, if they wanted to have their information removed from your database, how to do that. Now, I know all this sounds really, really technical. I promise it's not. I'm going to mention at the end of this video some great resources from actual attorneys, people who practice law or have practiced law, whose now their job is to actually create this type of stuff for online creators, right? And so it's very important that you don't go and just get a free privacy policy generator on a free website, because there's a lot of legal language that needs to be in there, and chances are those don't have the extent of what you need to have. Okay, so the next one, so we talked about privacy policy. The next one is a disclaimer. And so your disclaimer covers your affiliate relationships, like I mentioned. It also, let me go here and just kind of list this off for you. Your affiliate relationships, that your content is your opinion and should not be taken as professional advice. For multi-author sites, like if you accept guest posts or you have many writers on your site, it states that, hey, the people that write on this site, the content is their opinion, and I, as the site owner, am not responsible for what they say, right? And again, you have the disclaimer saying this is for educate or for informational and entertainment purposes only. It should not be considered a professional advice or whatever. And that you are free from liability from third-party services and apps used on your site. So like I said, you have all your plugins. Those are considered third-party. Your hosting, it's a third party. So the party is you and the person whose data is being used, and then the third party, the app, the other service. And each of them have their own individual disclaimer use of all these legal documents on their own sites. And so it's really easy just to link over to each one of them in your own documents. And these are just kind of a few of the things, but this kind of lets, it's just the disclaimer. Hey, just so you know, when you come here, here's the deal, right? And then the final one is your terms of use. And I kind of mentioned this before. It just lays out the law, the ground, the rules, the etiquette for hanging out. Like the bottom line, if you want to enter my space, you want to come onto the site, here's my terms. If you don't like them, or if you violate them, then you have to leave. So intellectual property rights, that's what it talks about. You're saying, hey, if you come here, just know, don't take anything because it's mine. You can't take my images and use it on your site. If you want to link to my content, great. You can link to content, but you can't copy the stuff on my site and use it as your own. Comment etiquette, also the age. If the information is meant for people under 18, you have to identify that. That's a whole nother lesson. I'm not a legal person, so I'm not going to go there. But anything for anyone that's considered a minor, have very specific things you have to do. So you have to say, hey, this site is for people 18 and up. If you come in here and bad things happen, or whatever, because kids can access the internet too. So the fact that you say you have to be 18 to be here, and if they come in anyway, you can't be held responsible. Okay. If you sell products or offer services, your terms of use should also include your return exchange policy and things like that. Okay. So that is kind of the overview. Like I said, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. It's just giving you kind of an overview and understanding that if you have a blog, a website that is live, it is accessible via the internet, you have a legal obligation to protect the data of the people that visit your site. And these are the things, as well as yourself legally, and these are the things that can help you, but you must do further research into your own state's requirements. If there's any, like I said, California has very specific ones. In your own country, European Union has some very specific things. And speak with an attorney. Now, these are some resources I'm going to recommend. They're ones that I have used in all my years of blogging. I've always bought my stuff from them. Both of these are prior, they used to be attorneys. They left private practice to become online, basically to provide the stuff that we need as online entrepreneurs to protect our businesses. And so they all, again, were attorneys at one point. So Legal Bundle, it's called a self guru, Amira at a self guru. She is a business lawyer, helps entrepreneurs comply with the laws and protect their business. She has a wonderful selection of privacy policies and all the documents. She has bundles. She also has a Facebook group for her customers where, you know, if you're having issues with filling yours out or getting the right words or whatever, you can go to her Facebook group and get help there. The other one is Entrepreneur Legal Corner. Marian is a former attorney turned entrepreneur who also serves the blogging community, but really online, all online creators, by providing the legal templates they need. And again, it's not just the three that I mentioned. There's other things. There's like guest posts, contracts. There's sponsored, like if you do sponsored content for brands, there's contracts, legal, just to protect you legally. So there's a lot of other things that you can, that you may need at some point in your blogging, depending on what things you do, freelance work, things like that. So these are just the ones specific to your blog, just your blog. And so you can find out more information from either one of those. The links to both of those are listed down below, so definitely check them out. There's also a link to a blog post on my site that kind of goes into a little more detail about all the things I've talked about. So definitely check that out as well. So if you have any questions that are not considered legal questions, because again, I'm not an attorney, just drop them below. Be sure to like this video. That really helps my channel, y'all. And again, join our Facebook group for other things that you may need help with in your blogging. And yeah, I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye.